What's up, dudes and girls? We're here at the gym and we decided to do a video on pull-ups. It's one of our favorite upper body exercises. It's definitely one that shows how much upper body strength you have specifically in your lats. But unfortunately, it can be very difficult. So we decided to make a video on showing you 5 exercises to help you perform your very first pull-up. Now, my girlfriend is here at the gym with me because she's gonna be demonstrating some of the workouts, but also because she has a goal for herself to be able to do her very first pull-up as well. And she's been implementing these exercises into her training, and it's been helping out quite a bit. So here we go. 5 exercises to help you do your very first pull-up. Yeah.
Let's get to work.
So the first exercise on the list is a very simple one. It's holds. You're gonna step up to a pull-up bar or a bar at a decent height, and you'll be grabbing the bar, overhand grip, just about shoulder width or slightly wider, and you're going to be hanging from the bar. And it's pretty simple, as you can see. So you wanna grip the bar nice and tight, and what this is gonna be doing is gonna be getting used to actually supporting your own body weight with your grip, because if you can't really do that, then you're not really gonna be able to do a pull-up. So grip strength is very important, especially if you want to start repping out more than even 1 rep, 5 reps, 10 reps, so on. If your grip gives out, then unfortunately, you're not gonna be able to do a pull-up. So implementing in hangs into your training is gonna be very important, getting used to that, and also just kind of getting comfortable in this position and supporting yourself, your body weight, with not only your grip, but kind of your shoulders as well, and kind of feeling that weight on there.
Getting a lot more serious with my training lately, I've realized that grip strength plays a huge role in not only pull-ups, but every exercise, really. Yeah, and I never really realized how much I was lacking in that area. So I'm definitely gonna be working on a lot more, because getting 1 pull-up is one of my big goals in the gym. So
what we're gonna be doing is 3 sets of 30 seconds, and that's it. Pretty simple. So that's the first exercise on the list, is just the hang holds, baby. Oh yeah. So we got the hang holds down, and the next exercise on the list is going to be depressions. Now, don't let this exercise depress you. It's actually a positive thing, because what we're doing is building the strength in the traps. Now, the trapezius is going to be helping to depress the shoulders downward, and what you're gonna be doing is in the hang position, just like so, but instead of just hanging here, you're gonna be pulling your shoulders downward, just like so. So this is kind of like the starting position of a pull-up. Okay, so we have the beautiful Michaela here to demonstrate the shoulder depression. So she's gonna bring her hands up to the bar, get into position, and now we're gonna watch her shoulders depress. And now what we'll notice is that the shoulders, the traps, are gonna be pulling the shoulders downward. And it's not retracting, it's depressing. So you're not pulling your shoulders back together, your shoulder blades back together, you're just rotating it downwards. As you can see, they're kind of here, starting position, and then down, squeeze, and really gonna feel that activation in the traps. It's very important to build that strength in the trapezius to make sure you have that strength to start your first pull-up. So this is definitely doing the job. Oh yeah. So third exercise on the list is going to be negatives. Again, going to be developing the strength, but in this case, it's not a concentric movement, it's an eccentric movement, or negative. So the muscle is not shortening, it's lengthening. And what you're gonna be doing is stepping on a box and getting the top position. So your chin is almost pretty much above the bar. Now you want to be grasping the bar just about shoulder width, slightly outside, and be jumping into position, or even placing yourself into position. And you're going to be utilizing that depression that we learned from exercise 2, and that's key. You don't want to keep your shoulders elevated and forward. You want to keep them depressed, to really contract the traps and hold that position for as long as you can, maybe even 2 count if you can, and slowly let yourself down to the bottom position. Now, that negative, letting yourself down slowly, is the eccentric contraction. So the muscle is lengthening, and with the eccentric contraction, it can build strength, it can build size, and it can be performed with relatively low energy cost, which is nice. But you'll notice it is very difficult, especially if you're just starting out. It kind of depends on your strength levels, but the whole key and point in this one is really try to hold that position, squeeze, and slowly let yourself down. Oh, that's it. And you will feel pretty extreme pull there, because the fibers, of course, are gonna be trying to hold that position, but they're gonna be slowly tearing apart. Now, that sounds pretty morbid, but it's actually a good thing, because what's happening is you're causing that trauma within the muscle fibers, and they're gonna be wanting to adapt to that trauma. So you implement stuff like this, traumatizing the muscles, tearing them apart, and then the body's like, oh shit, I need to repair myself. So you get your rest, your recuperation, you get your nutrition, you're gonna repair themselves bigger, better, buffer, stronger, and that's when you can do your first pull-up. Hell yeah, baby, that's what it's all about.
Negatives. I have a love-hate relationship. Love because they're getting me one step closer to my first pull-up, but hate because they're hard as shit.
So we are on to exercise number 4, and it is gonna be the assisted pull-ups. So we're finally on to an actual pull-up, but this one is gonna be a bit assisted, and we are using bands, as you can see. So we just tied some bands up, top position on the bar here, and you'll be stepping on a platform, so that way you can secure yourself within the band. Now you can do it on your knee here, which is sometimes the easiest, and then it can just support your weight with that one leg, or what you can do is do your foot. Now this one is a little bit trickier and slightly more dangerous, because if the band falls off your foot, it's gonna come back and snap you in the face, but it's gonna supply a lot more resistance, or assistance I should say, because now the band is gonna be in a stretch position and really be at its full kind of stretch there, so it's gonna be wanting to rubber band you back to the top position, so it's gonna provide a little bit more assistance with your foot there, and it's gonna be very easy to get yourself to the top position. Now, the trick with these ones is gauging the amount of assistance that you have from the band. So that can be a little tricky, so you have to play with that just a little bit. But the good thing about the assisted pull-up is it is teaching you within that full range of motion through the contraction, the concentric, and also the eccentric contraction too, bring yourself up and then back down, and really working on not only the shoulder depression, but also the full contraction of the lats, bring yourself to the top position and letting yourself down. So the assisted pull-ups are kind of key to really get used to that pull-up range of motion, that actual pull-up exercise, to get comfortable with positioning and also gaining strength too. But unfortunately, again, with the bands, they're a little bit difficult to judge the amount of assistance that you need or don't need. So they can sometimes help too much, or maybe not enough. So maybe only doing 3 pull-ups, or if they're a little too much help, you don't even really feel much contraction in the lats at all. It's really the bands doing most of the work, so you have to be careful of that. But it is, again, a very good exercise to get used to the positioning and the motion of a pull-up. But there is also another alternative to the assisted pull-ups. Instead of the bands, you can also use the machine.
So for me, I personally prefer the assisted pull-up machine over assisted pull-ups with the bands. Only because of the fact that since I'm a little inexperienced, it's a little bit easier with the machine because I can adjust the weight quicker, more easier. But of course, if you don't have this machine, then assisted pull-ups with the band is a great choice and can still get you closer to your goals.
So that is an excellent point that Michaela brought up. Now, the assisted pull-up machine can be a hell of a lot easier than using the bands. The bands can be a little bit more tricky, so if you are an absolute beginner, we would suggest using the machine. It's a lot easier to adjust your weights, get in position, and pretty much get right into it. Unfortunately, the bands can take a little bit of a setup time. It's also, you have to kind of do this guessing game of how much assistance you need with the bands, like we were saying outside. So that's why you move on to the machine. You get that amazing pull-up form and function, and it's also, if you're having problems doing your depressions or your holds with your own body weight, you can also use the assisted machine for that as well, to make sure you slowly build that strength if you are struggling to do that with your own body weight. So the assisted pull-up machine is an excellent tool you can use for many things, not just the pull-ups themselves, but of course the depressions, the holds, maybe even the negatives as well. So that's why we like this machine. Unfortunately, not every gym has one, so that's why the bands come into play. But that's it. That is the assisted pull-up machine. So now the last exercise, number 5, is actually a few different exercises. It's really just kind of a ender of all these other techniques that you can implement into your training to do your very first pull-up. Now you can do pull downs with the cable, which is really working on the same kind of motion and mechanics of a pull-up, but of course the weight is controlled. So you're really just kind of getting used to the positioning of pulling yourself up, but of course in this case you're pulling the weight down to you. But there's also other methods like the inverted row, which is an excellent tool to gain strength in your back and your traps using your own body weight, and it is very adjustable. You can make it a little bit easier or harder depending on how low or high the bar is, and that's why we utilize something like the Smith machine, because it's very easy to adjust like this. Of course, the lower the bar is, the more body weight that is placed on the exercise with the inverted row. The higher it is, the less body weight, so it makes it a little easier. So the good thing is you can adjust according to your strength levels. Now the last exercise you can implement, and it's kind of another version of an assisted pull-up that we like. It's kind of like the seated pull-up, and you can use it on this as well, the Smith machine, and you pretty much get in a seated position with your hands still placed on the bar. And what happens is you're getting it right under the bar and you're pulling yourself up to the top position. Now, you really try to utilize all of your body weight and try not to push your legs too much. But if you need to, you can go ahead and help yourself up to the top position with your legs if you need it. So again, it's getting you used to that position of a pull-up, but of course in this case, you're not pulling up all your body weight. You can really kind of dictate how much weight you want to be placed on this exercise through the help of your legs or no help with your legs. So there we go. That is 5 exercises or 5 techniques that you can implement into your training to get you stronger and ready for your first pull-up. What do you think, Michaela? You ready?
I'm ready. I feel strong, I feel buff, feel able, and I'm ready to do my first pull-up.
Hell yeah. And we're gonna be there for when you do it. We're gonna be recording that. And so everyone's waiting for you. So now you have the accountability.
Yep.
And that's gonna be important. So huge thanks, Michaela, for joining us for the video. Really appreciate it. And if you want to see any other videos like this in the future, just let us know in the comments below. And as always, stay buff.